Hi guys. Hi guys. I hope you guys can see me okay. It looked like I was having a little problem getting on and stuff. Um hey guys, how are you? I see people are on here. I'm just going to type in the chat. Hi everyone. I hope you guys can see me. If you guys can hear me okay. I hope. Can you guys hear me? Can someone say on the chat yay or nay? Oh my. I hope we're doing okay. Let me see. Looks like I have 12 people on. 7 people gave it a thumbs up and stuff. Loud and clear. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much. Looks like there's like a little delay or something going on. I was going to say, oh boy, here we go again. Okay. Because, like for a while, I was kind of having some kind of issues and stuff. So good. I am on track and I see people are coming in. Everybody's replying. Awesome. All right, guys. So, hi everybody. How are you doing? For those of you that are new, welcome. I am Jeanette from Boricua Sewing and Crafts. Welcome to our embroidery happy hour. I do these every Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And it's just an opportunity for you guys to get to know me better and also, for me to share some of the things that I've done during the week and some of the new stuff I've learned about sewing and embroidery, and also for you guys to ask me questions, and I try to help you out best I can. Okay, so for this week's topic, I was thinking about doing talking about sewing tricks and tips that I have learned, and embroidery trips. I keep saying trips, but it's tricks and tips that I have been learning about sewing and embroidery since I've been doing this for quite some time. Some of the things I'm going to mention are stuff that I've even learned through my own Facebook group because people, we share all kinds of information every time somebody learns something new. I always encourage people, please post it because the Facebook group that I create is so that we can all learn from each other and stuff. So, I have pages, actually pages. I have about I got about 4 pages of stuff that I'm going to be talking about things that I've learned so far, to help you guys. And this is going to be really great, especially if you are a beginner. Okay. And, I'm going to, just take notes and stuff. And, I always have my videos up. So even if you miss something, don't worry, you can always watch this. You can do a replay and stuff like that and write down stuff. Okay. So as always, I always like to say hi to everybody on the chat, but I'm gonna leave that to the end because I want to start getting all this information out to you guys because I think we may end up going over an hour. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna try not to because I always like to be respectful of people's time. But I'm gonna try to pull right through all this and stuff. And also, I really do want to go through the chat and stuff and answer any questions. And even if you have a tip or of an experience of your own, please put it in the chat box also so you can share it with everybody. Okay. So let's get started. All right. Let's talk about cleaning our machines. Okay. Now I even got my little rolly cart over here with me. Okay. And so that way I can show you guys my little goodies and stuff like that. Okay. So let's talk about cleaning machines. All right. Now, whether you have a multi-needle machine or you have a single needle machine, your machine is always gonna come with some type of cleaning brush. Okay. For those of you guys that start, okay, if you're starting with a single needle machine, you're gonna have a brush that's very similar to this. Now, I am not saying at all that this brush is useless. It's very, very good. Okay. But as you start to embroider and sew and everything like that, first of all, I learned the hard way that you're supposed to clean your machine. Okay. When I first got my machine, I was sewing and sewing and embroidering like crazy and didn't even know that you were supposed to open it up and take the lint out of it. Okay. I ended up finding out when my sewing machine and my embroidery machine started acting up. And I was like, what's going on? Then I started looking through channels and stuff like that. And that's when I learned the hard way. You're supposed to clean that sucker out. And I didn't even know. Okay. So when I opened up the case and I saw the bobbin area and everything, I mean, there were clumps of lint in there. So one of the things that I highly recommend is get in the habit of cleaning your machine. Now, one of the things when you're doing is cleaning your machine is you want to get the lint out. Please try to prevent yourself from using an air can. It is so tempting. It really is. It's tempting for me as well because I know that an air can, like this, okay? I mean, it's a duster cleaner, right? So the first thing that goes through your mind is, oh, I'll just spray it and the stuff will come out. Don't do that because when you use this, okay, what happens is the lint is going to go in deeper in your machine and you want to try to avoid that, all right? So seriously, try not to use these cans, at all, okay? I use these for my keyboard and my computer. I do not use them for my machines at all, my embroidery machines. I just have this here so that, cuz I usually get a whole bunch of threads and everything all over the place. So I'll use this to like clean my desk area and stuff. I do not use this for the machines, all right? So I just wanted to emphasize that because if you have lint that starts to get clogged up in there, it can really damage your machine in the long run. Okay, so you want to try to prevent that, all right? Now, you get this type of brush when you buy the machine, right? But here's a little tip. If you go to the dollar store, okay, if you go to the dollar store, you can get brushes like this, and this can help. Okay. Um, when you look for the brushes, these are makeup brushes. Okay, you get them for like $1, all right, and you get like a whole. They sometimes they come in like a little set and stuff. But one of the things that I caution you in, sometimes these little makeup brushes can come with like really rough bristles, right? So what you want to do is when you're there at the dollar store, they're usually little plastic containers and you can kind of open them, feel them and make sure they're fluffy and that they're soft, okay? Because you don't want to go in there and mess something up because these brushes are really hard, okay? They do sell them that are soft. These are really great. Just push it in, twirl it around, and then pull it out like that. And then what I usually do is, I'm always wearing junky clothes anyway. So I'll take the brush and I'll just like go like this to me and just to get the lint off the brush and I'll put it on my shirt or something. Or you could just get a piece of rag or something and go like that and then just clean it out. What I like about using the makeup brushes is that they come in these different sizes, right? So you can have like a big one where you can just go in, turn it, and then pull it out. Or if you really want, you can get a smaller one and it's more little detailed. And they have smaller ones as well. But, the thing is, these are really good because even though your machine comes with a brush, within time, your brush is going to probably get really dirty and it's going to be time to replace it. So don't go out buying an expensive brush. You can use these. Now, someone posted in a Facebook group an idea, which I was like, oh my God, that's like genius. Okay. They sell these things. These are disposable makeup eyelash brushes. See? Okay. These are like super cheap. Now, I went online and I bought 500 of them. Do I need 500 of them? No. I thought I was going to use it and probably throw it out. I have been using the same one for quite some time. I like these because they do attract the lint, okay, to clean out the machine. And, I just go like this, with my shirt and get the extra lint out, or go like this with my fingers and get the thread out. And then I just keep using it. Don't go crazy like me and buy like 500 of them. if you can just get a small pack of these, or I wonder, I think you probably could even find these at the dollar store too. They're the disposable eyelash, that for eyelash, put makeup on and stuff. Just get a small pack of these and they'll last you for a very, very long time. And this is going to help you clean your machine. Okay. I mean, really great idea. Very inexpensive, does the job. So, this is like really like a good one. Another one that I saw was somebody put down Q-tips. Buy Q-tips. Now, Q-tips is another good idea too. I, however, did go online and they did sell these things, which in a way it works, but I kind of regret that I bought them because they were kind of pricey. And I bought these, and these are the same concept. These are Q-tips, but they're very, very, very small. Okay. And I bought these off of Amazon, and it was to clean the sewing machines. But the thing is, after I bought this is when somebody came out and said, "Oh, I use Q-tips to clean my machine." Duh, I should have did that, okay? Because I mean, these are good and I've had them for quite some time. And I don't, they're plastic. I can throw them out. But the thing is, I do use them. But if I had to do, you know, go back in time, I would have used Q-tips, because Q-tips, I mean, it's stuff we buy all the time to clean our ears and all that kind of stuff, and even apply makeup. I mean, all you gotta do is take one or two of them and put them in. Now, the only thing I did think about with the Q-tips is when you look at a Q-tip, the cotton on the Q-tip sometimes is very, very loose. So I have not used a Q-tip to clean my machine, and I often wonder, if you use the Q-tip, if because the cottons on these Q-tips are so like kind of thick and kind of loose, would it get caught up on something on the sewing machine? So it's just something to keep in the back of your mind, okay? So but I honestly though, because I thought about that, if I, if I were folks, I would probably say stick with the dollar store brushes that are a dollar, because I know this isn't going to get stuck on anything. They're very, very, very soft. You can get them in all sizes. I had just saw one, shoot, that I wanted to show you guys, but oh well. It was because like I said, I bought a whole set. Is this it? Yeah. See, look, they come in all different sizes. And, if you really think about it, this is about the same size as a Q tip. And I would prefer to use this than a Q tip, because I know that this isn't going to leave cotton behind or anything like that in my machine that could kind of potentially mess it up. So, this is something that, little tips to just clean the machines. Okay. Now, another genius, okay, and I call her a genius because I was like, oh my god, that is so, so smart. If you have a single needle machine, okay, I remember I wanted to do shirts and stuff, and I wanted to embroider tote bags. I went and I bought a wooden riser. Someone bought a mini ironing board, put the single needle machine on top of it. It raised the machine, and they were able to do the exact same thing as if buying a riser. Risers can be very, very expensive, okay? Especially if you want one that looks really nice and stuff like that, and you want it painted and all that. It can run you about like $60 to $100, all right? But if you can go to Target or Walmart, and you can buy those mini ironing boards, and I think they probably run you no more than like 14 bucks, okay? And there you go. You can put the sewing machine right on top of it. Just make sure you get a nice sturdy table, and you just raise your sewing machine. So that is something else that you guys can do. I mean, I thought that was so genius. Somebody posted that on the Facebook group the other week, and I thought that was like awesome. Loved it. Okay. So that was the second thing that I had on my list that I really wanted to mention to you guys. All right, let's talk about stitches, okay? Removing stitches. Now, the mistakes are going to happen, all right? And the most dreadful mistakes happen sometimes that happen to me at times is when I am working on customers orders and they bring me an item, okay, or even they bring me an item they want me to embroider on it. A lot of times I can embroider on it, no problem, but sometimes once in a blue moon I will embroider the wrong color, or I embroidered it upside down or on the wrong side of the product, or something funky happens. And it's usually because I was either rushing, I wasn't paying attention, or whatever the case. Okay. And then what happens is you have to undo the embroidery. Okay. So there are so many different ways you can do this. Of course, the old fashioned way is to use a seam ripper. Okay. Now, your brother machine comes with one that's really, really, it's a good one, but it's like really thin. I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's a very, very thin one. And if you watched one of my earlier videos, I pulled it out and I'm like, what the heck is this? I didn't even know, because I didn't know you were supposed to open it. And it was actually a seam ripper. I think I said it right. Seam ripper. Sometimes I say steam ripper, but it's really seam, for the threads. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so because sometimes you're going to be there and you're going to be a long time, usually I like to get one that fits really comfortable in my hand. So I like to get these type of seam not seam 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 rip seam rippers, okay, the things that cut the thread. I like to get them that fit really good in my thread. So I always recommend people try to go to the store or whatever, feel them out, see what feels really good in your hand, and let that be your solid ripper, okay, because you're gonna need it. All right, trust me, this is your best friend whenever you make mistakes. Now, sometimes when you are doing big embroidery designs, though, and you have thousands of stitches, sometimes this can take a long, long time to undo. So I usually have something which is a Peggy Stitch Eraser. Okay. Now they have different kinds of this one. They have one that's corded. This one is the cordless. I have both. They even have one, if you go to All Stitch, they have one where this is a little thinner. Some people, instead of actually getting these, they've actually used men's shavers, okay? And they've used that to remove their stitches. This is a really good and quick way to remove stitches. The only thing that I caution you on is make sure that you are careful and you don't want to cut your fabric. Well, you still have to be careful even with this too, because even though you're undoing the stitches, sometimes you can accidentally um, go in too deep and then rip the fabric as well. So either solution that you want to use to remove your stitches, you always got to make sure that you're always very, very careful. And when you're doing this, it's going to actually be, to me, my experience, it's kind of like a messed up time for you, right? It's like you're pissed, you messed up, you're like, oh man, I got to do it, and it's like a stressful thing. So a lot of times what I usually do is, especially if it's not something that had to happen right then and there, I will come out and I'll just say, okay, fine. It happened and messed up. And I try to go in a nice quiet place in the house or whatever, watching TV, where I can actually take my time and remove the stitches. Okay. That way it's a little more calming and stuff like that. Because what'll happen, I don't know about you guys, but I know with me is if I start removing it when I'm upset, I'll be rushing or something like that. And then I could accidentally do a snag on the fabric or something like that. And then that's not good. Okay. So, just to keep in mind, a good razor or a good seam ripper is really good. Now, there's something else that people do use for this. Okay. I've seen people use a razor. Okay. And this is how they use this. Okay. When you take the item off of the machine, all right, do not rip off the stabilizer in the back, okay? And this, let me show you how I do. I'm going to show you with a sample, okay? This is a sample stitch that I have, right? Now, this is perfect, but let's make believe I messed up, okay? So if you turn it around, This is the back, and here's my stabilizer. Okay. If you have a tearaway stabilizer, whatever, don't rip it out. I usually will take this, okay, a new razor where it's nice and sharp. And then what you can do is just go over it like this, up and down. And what you're doing, okay, is you're kind of breaking the stitches in a way. So that way, when you go to pull it from the other side, pulls it a little bit easier. So people have done that. I have, I've seen people with videos where they'll say, oh, take a razor and do that. And then I'll sometimes fold it and then I'll go like this. Don't go too hard, because if it's super sharp, it can actually cut through your stabilizer. And that's what you want to avoid. You don't want to mess up your fabric. Never try to remove it this way, okay? Because what you're doing is you're actually rubbing the razor against the actual fabric, and you can mess up the integrity of the fabric. So what you want to do is you always want to try to remove your stitches from the back of the design, not the front. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes sense a little bit for you guys. I've even seen some people take like an X-Acto knife, and with the X-Acto knife, they will actually go in the back of it, and then all they do is they kind of trace around, okay? Because what you want to do is you want to cut the bobbin thread. But you know what kind of sucks a little bit is when you have very detailed embroidery designs, you're talking about very, very tiny stitches. You're not talking about those huge ones. So it's a lot easier to undo a stitch if you're like, if you embroider somebody's name and the font is about like 1.5, 2 inches, 3 inches, because the back of that, you can actually see the bobbin thread, right? So all you have to do is just take an X-Acto knife or your razor and stuff and just cut the bobbin thread in the back, and then it'll unravel. But when you have designs that are like this, where the stitches are so small, this is it's very difficult for you to even see sometimes the bobbin thread in the back. So it's like it's kind of like, it's hard. So so it just, mistakes happen. It is what it is. But those are just some of the stuff that that you have to think about when you're removing stitches. I mean, that's the most unpleasant part of embroidery, if you ask me. Okay. That's the part that I hate the most. Okay. So all right, what did I put in here? Oh yes, okay. While you are removing stitches, though, the best thing to do also is, as don't just the seam ripper and stuff like that, get a magnifying glass as well. Okay, magnifying glasses are really, really great because they help you really look at the thread. Okay, I mean, they make the thread a little bigger so you can actually see, when especially when you're using a seam ripper, where you're actually putting this in. So magnifying glasses are really the way to go. I have this one, and I also have another one that I purchased. Sometimes my husband takes it from me. Oh, here it is. This it? No, it's not. Oh, here it is. He takes it from me because he sometimes looks at stuff too. Here's a set that I bought off of Amazon. This was really cool. It's like little glasses. It's like little glasses and stuff. It comes with all of the, there's so many on Amazon. Look on Amazon, just type magnifying glasses. Sometimes all you need is a handheld, and if a handheld works, you can get these. I think they even sell them at the dollar store too. You know what I'm saying? So but don't, the stuff that I'm telling you, don't go out buying the most expensive. I'm just giving you guys ideas so that way you guys can search around. And I'm telling you, because you guys that have watched me for a long time know I'm all about saving a buck. Okay. So, I don't want nobody going broke here. Okay. So this one I like because it has all the different lenses, okay, with the different degrees. And then you kind of like put them on these little glasses that you wear, right? So it's like little glasses. Now, why did I get these? Okay. I'm gonna tell you what, because it's not just the the thread that I use these for, I actually use these for when I'm repairing my multi needle machines. Okay. One of the things that sometimes happens on multi needle machines is sometimes your threader will need to be replaced. And in order to do that, it's like you really have to make sure that the hook of the threader is going through the eye of the needle. So when I am replacing that part, which sometimes it's not often, but sometimes I do goof and I make a mistake and I kind of mess up that part with a screwdriver or something like that. So I have to replace it. So when I have to replace it, I use these glasses so that I can make sure that when I am snapping in the needle threader on both my multi needle machines here, that I can really make sure that I can see exactly where that hook is. So I that's where I wear these, and these come in handy because you have your screwdriver in one hand, then you have the needle threader on the other hand, and you only got two hands. So if I can wear the magnifying glass, it kind of makes everything a lot easier. So that's why, that's why I have those, because those kind of work for these. So, but you don't need that if you have a single needle machine or something like that, or you can just do everything with one hand. Just get an inexpensive one. I mean, the thing is, can it make the image bigger for you? That's what you need. Okay. All right. So storing your stabilizers. I've mentioned this in the past. The best way to store your stabilizer, and I have stabilizers here, and oh man, okay, I don't have, okay. All right, let me tell you how I do it. All right. See, with these, I haven't done it for the simple fact that I know what it is, okay? I'm trying to find one. All right. Oh man, okay, I put it somewhere else. All right. A little hint, okay? When you are when you oh yeah, here it is. Okay, got it. All right, a little hint. All right, when you're starting out in embroidery, right, you're gonna slowly learn that there's so many different types of stabilizers out there. Okay, that's gonna, when I first started, I just started with just a pack of tearaway stabilizer. Then, as time went by and I started learning about embroidering clothing, then I started learning that if you wear it, you don't tear it, and you got to buy a cutaway stabilizer. Then, as I started to embroider more, I started learning about the weight of the fabrics. You start becoming familiar with different embroidery designs, what's considered very dense, what's considered very light. And then you actually start to pick up, the more you embroider, this knowledge will eventually come to you, trust me. The more you start to embroider, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to look at a design and you're going to know what design is going to work with what type of fabric, and you're going to know right away what type of stabilizer you're supposed to use for a particular design and a particular fabric. But as you start growing that knowledge, your inventory of stabilizers are going to grow. And the thing is, sometimes stabilizers, they come in different colors, they come in different shapes, different sizes, different weights. And when you have all these rows of stabilizers, it can get really quick. You can end up, especially, if you're just starting out, you can actually forget about what stabilizer you have in your inventory. So one of the things that I do is, when you buy the stabilizer, they're usually wrapped in plastic and stuff, and then you have, your with your label, right? What I usually do is never throw these out. Okay, just roll it up, okay, and put it inside your stabilizer. That way, when you go through your stash and you pick out a roll, okay, you're going to you'll be like, oh my god, I don't know what brand this is or what weight or whatever, right? You take it out and then you'll know what it is. Okay. Now, there is going to be a time though when you have embroidered so much and you are so familiar with the stabilizer because that's the brand that you're comfortable using and that's the brand that you constantly use. And you, so what ends up happening is you're going to eventually, as time goes on, with those that you are very, very familiar with, you're not going to need to keep these anymore because you're going to be able to pull it off your shelf. You already know what it feels like. You're going to be able to look at it and go, okay, no show mesh. I know this is no show mesh, and this is for my poly shirts or whatever, right? So you're going to eventually learn that. So this is really important for you to do because the last thing you want, especially if you're starting out, is you don't want to buy your stabilizer and then you throw away the package, and then what happens is then you don't know what it is, right? And then you're guessing and you're like, oh my god, is this the lightweight, is this the medium weight, is this the heavy, is this the fusible, the non-fusible, is this the no show, is this the cutaway, you know what I'm saying, so you want to be able to always remember what you have in stock. Okay, so just something that I saw that somebody had posted, and I was like, you know what, that's a really good tip. So I'm like, okay, awesome, that works. All right, so it's just something for you guys to think about. Also, when you first start out, right, you get your machine and all your stuff. Sometimes you're not buying, you're gonna end up buying a whole lot of stuff. When you first start buying your inventory, start small, okay? Because the simple fact is, first of all, you really don't know what you like, okay? You really don't know what is the brand that's going to work for you. There's so many different brands of stabilizers, so many different brands of thread. So you have to try to, like, in a way, find out what is the thread that you like and the stabilizer that you like working. Once you know what it is that works for you, that is when you no longer buy the small. Okay. That's when I tell people now start buying the bulk, because if you buy the bulk, if you already know this is what you like, this is what you want to keep using, when you buy in bulk, you save more money that way. Okay. When you keep buying small, you end up spending a lot more. Like, I'll give you an example. Tender Touch. I like to use the Tender Touch in the back of all my kitchen towels because it gives it a nice clean look in the back of the embroidery. Okay. I usually was buying the roll because the roll was cut nicely, and all I had to do was just slice it and stuff. But those rolls cost money. Okay. So after a while, I stopped. So what I started doing was, you get the bulk, okay? And then what I'll do, all right, is because I already know the size of the Tender Touch that I need. So I usually will do is I will cut sheets out of my bulk, and then I'll just have a stack of the sheets that I need using the bulk. And I end up saving more money, and this lasts a lot longer than if I was to go and just buy that roll. Okay. So it's just something else to think about. I mean, you can buy stabilizer this way. You can buy the big ones. I mean, like the cutaway, I have the big rolls too. See, I buy them in big too. And this is another thing too. Also, when you're buying stabilizer, right? There's two ways you can buy them to, that people usually sell them. You can get them by the roll, or you can get them pre-cut. Okay. Now, pre-cut saves you time, right? So if there is a particular size that you use all the time, okay, nonstop, then I would say, hey, go ahead, buy the pre-cut and buy the pre-cut in bulk, right? But there are certain stabilizers that I use, but I usually don't use that stabilizer the same size all the time, which is like my cutaway. My cutaway I usually use is unless it's for a logo. If I'm doing logos, that I use in the same size. But sometimes I'm doing jackets, sometimes I'm doing sweatshirts, and it's not just the logo. I'm doing the back of the jackets or the back of the sweatshirts. and I need the sheets, right? And sometimes I need them bigger, smaller. So a roll would work for me in that, okay? Because I don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on sheets and then all of a sudden I find out that it's too small or it was way too big. So I kind of like the rolls when it comes to certain cutaways, okay? So think about your inventory, what you need, what you use mostly, and then think about what's the best way for you to buy those products, okay? And don't be afraid to shop around, okay? I know Amazon is like our favorite place because you kind of like type it in, it's there, you hit put it in my cart and go. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes they don't have the best price, okay? So you got to shop around. And an example of that is when I was buying my serger, okay? I got the Brother 1034DX serger, okay? You guys have heard me say this before, those that have been watching me. Amazon had it on their site for $260. I went on Walmart.com, same machine for $199. That was like a $60 difference. Okay. You know how much stabilizer and thread you could buy with that money? So I got it the very next day too when I ordered it from Walmart. So it was like the same thing. The only thing is I had an extra $60 in my pocket. So, when you know what you want, okay, like the brand of the stabilizer, the brand of the thread, or whatever, Google it, shop around, and see where you can get the best price. Sometimes you can even get stuff from Joann's. Use their coupons, and stuff, because I'm all about saving money. I'm telling you guys, I really am. You got to fight me for my dollar. So, anyway, just wanted to put that out there. Okay. So I talked about storing the thing. Oh, I'm at the next page. Okay. All right. So I'm on a roll. Okay. Another tip that you guys have heard me talk about in the past is your embroidery files. Okay. Embroidery files are, if when you're looking at one embroidery file, you think, oh, that's pretty inexpensive. Well, some. Okay, you can buy some embroidery files that are only $1, but then you have some embroidery files that can cost you $5-6. All right. And if you are getting something digitized, all right, that can cost you more. All right. So embroidery files, when you're looking at it one file at a time, it can look as inexpensive. But as time goes on, you're going to be buying a lot of files. You're going to be buying fonts, you're going to be buying different designs, and you're going to be customizing customers' requests, right? The one thing that you must do is make sure that you organize your files well on your desktop and get an external hard drive, okay? Please get that, because if something happens to your desktop, then what happens is your files are gone. And yeah, you can go to a lot of websites and you can re-download them. But let's be honest, as time goes on, you're not going to remember where you bought every single file. Okay. So, in order to play it safe, get into the habit of organizing your files, making sure you have it all in one good place, and then get an external hard drive and make sure that you copy everything over there. Another reason why you should get an external hard drive is because if you do embroidery as a business like I do, sometimes I have to go out and I have to meet a customer. And when I go and I meet with the customer, I take my MacBook with me and I take the external drive with me as well. If they are looking for a particular design, I can actually pull up in Brilliance on my machine, and I can also bring up the designs that I have, and I can show them what I have, and probably even design it for them right in front of them to see if that's something that they like. So it's portable. So it's something that I it works for me. So it's just something. It's just a little idea that you can have. You don't have to get the most expensive one out there. Just make sure that you have one that has enough space so that you can put all your stuff in there. Okay. So that is something that's really, really important. Another thing is a USB extender. If whatever machine you are using, whether it's a single needle, the SC1900, or you use a multi needle, you're going to have a USB port. USB ports, you're going to be taking your flash drive and you're going to be sticking it in and out of there all the time. Okay. I have take this out. Okay, extenders. Okay, this was a tip that I saw, and I was kind of like, oh my God, that's genius. All right. This get you stick this into your machine once, and then this is the part that will go into your machine. This is the part where you're going to be sticking in all your USB ports, in and out, in and out, in and out all the time. So the part that's going to be used all the time is this right here, not the one that's on the machine. Okay, so when this goes bad, not a big deal, go buy another one, but the one on the machine is the one that will always work, because if the one on the machine goes back, that's going to be very, very expensive for you to replace. Okay, you're going to have to take it into servicing, that kind of stuff. You don't want to go through that. So save the headache, get one of these. I mean, they are inexpensive. You can probably, maybe, I don't know if you can get them from the dollar store. You may want to look. You never know. They probably might have them, but just get one, and it'll save your USB port in the long run. Okay, so that is something else. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you guys, and this is something that I recently got, okay, which I was kind of like, why didn't I do this before? Well, I know why, because I'm cheap. Okay, so I started getting color cards. Okay, this is the thing. Let's talk about embroidery thread. Okay, embroidery thread, when you start off, the best way to do it is to buy a set. Okay, they have different types of sets. They have 63 colors. They even have some that are 120 colors. Just buy a set. That's just to start you off, for you to become familiar with the machine, for you to become familiar with the different colors. Okay, as time goes on, you're going to start to run out of certain particular colors, because you're going to see that those are the colors that you use a lot. Like, off the bat, I think almost everyone, guaranteed, gets runs out of the white and the black thread. All right, when you need to replace those threads, sometimes what happens is, I find that buying the big comb is really the best way to go when it comes to replacing a particular color. Okay, now if you have an SC1900 or a single needle machine, a lot of times the top of the machine doesn't hold a big comb. Not a big deal. Okay, there are different ways you can do this. One, you can get this. Okay, I have a thread stand. Okay, put it next to your machine, thread it right through here, put it into your machine. Got my big comb right here. Works great. I've even heard that people have got a paper cup. Put this inside the paper cup and just thread it through the machine. Hey, whatever works. Okay, these are pretty inexpensive. Okay, I remember when I bought mine, it was over 20, but we're talking 2 years ago. The last time I checked on Amazon, I think they were like $14 or something like that. Okay, I don't know if they have them in Joann's. You may want to look, and if you do, make sure you go over there with a coupon. Okay, so that way you can get this cheaper. But this is pretty inexpensive. But before you even go there and get something like this, if you have a plastic cup, try it with the plastic cup. If it works, stick with the plastic cup. Don't, why spend the money, right? So just something that, a little tip for you guys. People sometimes use the plastic cup and they say it works. I've heard people put it on the floor or whatever works, but my thing is, I'm just thinking, I'm a long-term thinker when it comes to certain things. So to me, I just look at it as this. If you keep buying those small combs and you know that it's a color that you're going to use very frequent, like the black, the white, the red, the blue, or something, right? Because those are usually the colors of the designs that you like to use a lot. When you keep rebuying that, it can get kind of pricey, because if you look at the price of a small one, sometimes it runs you about $5-6. Okay. And I think those small ones that I have in the back are about 1,100 a yard, but these big combs are 50, I think it's 55,000, I mean, not 55,000, 5,500 a yard. Man, could you imagine 55,000? That thing, that's a lot of yard. Anyway, That's about 5,500 a yard, and those are 1,100 a yard, the small ones. Okay, the small ones are like $5 or $6. That is about the big ones. I get them from Madeira, and they're about, I believe, 8.95. So to me, it's these last a lot longer, and and I just feel for the price, it's really really good. Okay, and I usually, depending, I would, depending how many machines you have, that will determine how many you need to buy. Okay. I have three machines. So every time I'm going out and I'm buying a color of the big comb, I try to buy three. And the reason why I do that is because if I have an order of like dinner napkins, right? And a lot of times when I do the dinner napkins, I have all three running at the same time, because sometimes what happens is people they don't buy one, they usually buy six or 12. And if someone's having this huge party, sometimes they'll say, hey, I need 30 or 40, right? So I got to get all these machines running. So what I have to do is I have to make sure that they all have the same kind of thread. So I usually, my rule of thumb is always, you buy as many as machines that you have. That way, if you have to run them all at the same time, then you have the thread for each machine and you're golden. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something that I do that kind of works for me. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay. Oh, another thing too. All right. If you have multiple machines, or to sewing and all that kind of stuff, this kind of goes with when I was talking about I had a embroidery happy hour where I talked about your room, okay, setting up your sewing room. And I talked about how you have to look at your process. How do you sew? How do you embroider, right? Like some people like to cut their fabric, then they like to sew it, then they have to iron it, so they kind of like have like an assembly line going on. Well, one of the things also is I like furniture with wheels, all right? Because sometimes, like this little cart right here, I move it around with me. And then also, I have my cutting board, which is like right over here behind me. Okay. That, as you can see, that has wheels as well. So I like furniture with wheels. So it's just something that works for me. So, oh, sorry, I dropped my thing. So, something to keep in mind. Okay. I have a video also if you're interested in how to get that cheap. Okay, I did a video on that, on how to get discounted gift cards and all that kind of stuff, because I'm all about to save the money. So just something to think about. Okay, but for me, I like the wheels because the cart comes with me wherever I am around the room. Okay, so if I'm on this embroidery machine or this embroidery machine, and then I have to go there, I can drive it with me. Okay. It also helps me to keep things organized as well, and that's another thing that I say is really important. If you stay as organized, you will be able to keep track of your inventory a lot better. You will know when you're starting to run out of needles, and that's the other thing too. Make sure you buy a lot of needles. Okay, if you have a single needle machine, you may want to just buy two boxes of the 100. That way you have 200. That should last you for some time. If you have multi needles like I have, I usually buy a whole lot. Okay, I usually have about 800 or 900 needles on me, for the simple fact that I change my needles often. And that's another thing too. Make sure you're changing your needles often. Needles get dull, and when needles get dull and they start to puncture your fabric, they're actually creating larger holes on your fabric than necessary to embroider. And it's going to kind of, not that the design's going to look funky, but it would look a lot better if you had fresh needles in there. So the rule of thumb is always 8 hours of sewing. If you do more than 8 hours of sewing, then you should change out your needles. A lot of times when I'm working on a lot of orders, I'm almost changing the needles on these machines every other day, which is why I buy so many needles. And but if you just have like one machine like that, then just get like 2 packs, and I think you should be okay. All right. Now, talking about needles and stuff, someone gave me a tip on this. Okay. If If you know someone at home that is taking medicine or something like that, have like a little pill bottle or something like that, keep it. Okay. That is, put a label, old needles, okay? And when you are taking out your old needles, okay, put them in the little jar right here and then you close it up. When your jar gets full, okay, then you can take it, toss it in the trash. That way you don't have all these needles all over the place. When you're also changing your needle on the SE 1900, someone had gave me a tip about taking a napkin or a piece of paper, put it underneath the needle. Then, when you unscrew the needle is going to fall on the paper. You don't want it to accidentally fall inside the machine, because if it falls inside the machine, you got to take the machine apart and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to deal with that. Okay. But let me tell you, that was a very neat idea. And I do that all the time. I'll just grab a piece of notebook paper or fabric or something like that. I'll put it right underneath the needle on my SC 1900. Then I'll unscrew the needle. The needle just drops. Very easy for me to just grab it and then put it in here and put a fresh one in. So that's another tip and stuff. So, save those old pill bottles or old containers or whatever. This was from think this was from Seasons, little season when you're cooking and stuff. so, so I was like, oh, give it to me. I'll fill that out with needles and stuff. And, I use it for all the stuff. I even, anything that's sharp that I have to get, blades that I'm replacing and stuff like that, put them in here. So it works, okay? Because you don't want to, have somebody accidentally prick their finger and all that kind of stuff and everything. Okay, and the other thing that I wanted to mention, which I know people are going to be like, okay, software, okay? You're going to need software. Eventually, when I first started, I was just buying the files, which you could do. You can do that. Just buy the files, make sure you're getting the right size, make sure that you're getting the right format for your machine. The brother machines use PES. I think the Viking machines, my girlfriend Robin has a Viking machine, and I think the Viking machines extension is HUS, and each machine has their own extension that they have to use. Okay, but make sure that you are purchasing the right size that your machine takes and that you're buying the right format. Okay, now if you have embroidery software, it really does open up a big world for you. I mean, I know it sucks because everybody's like, oh God, I don't want to spend the money, and it's not cheap. It really isn't. Okay. There's a lot of different types of embroidery software out there. Okay. Try to see if you can find something that has a free version that you can download, test it out, see if you're comfortable. I use Brilliance, but I use Brilliance because I'm a Mac user. Okay. And if you're a Mac user, you're kind of stuck because Brilliance is the only one that I was able to find that works with the Mac. Okay. Unless you take a Mac and you put Windows on it. Okay. And then you can run the other stuff on there. I didn't want to do that on my Mac. So I used Brilliance. Brilliance did seem easy for me to use. I did the free version. I liked it. Used the free version for quite some time. And then I was like, okay, I'll upgrade, and I went and I got I actually purchased the whole suite, which is expensive. Okay, so I got the Stitch Artist and all that kind of stuff. So, but you don't need all that. Okay, if you're looking at Brilliance, make sure that when you're going there, you start with the Brilliance Essentials. They have different modules. You buy what you need. Make sure that you read the different modules and you understand what you're getting and what you're buying. If you don't understand it, you can, if you're part of our Facebook group, ask the question. Okay, ask the question and we can help you guys out, because software can be very, very expensive. And the thing is, you don't want to buy a module of the software if it's not something that you're going to use a lot. Okay. Now, the ones that I like to use is I use, of course, Essentials, which is the first one. I like that because you get to size your designs. You get to add the text and all that kind of stuff. So that's very, very useful. I like the density repair kit because what that does is sometimes when I buy files, Sometimes they don't come greatly digitized, okay? And sometimes you have all these extra stitches that you really don't need. So to me, I just feel that density repair kit actually saves me money, because what it does is it reads the file and it'll remove any stitches that are not necessary. So to me, what it does is it helps save time in embroidery, because it shortens the time of embroidering, and it also saves me money in thread because I'm not using unnecessary thread. I also like Enthusiast because Enthusiast has the knockdown stitches, and sometimes, especially during Christmas time, people love to get stockings embroidered, and in stockings have a lot of the fuzz, that fuzzy material. I need the knockdown stitches because what'll happen is in time, even though you have to use really thick fonts, because if you use thin fonts, what'll happen is your thread, it sinks into the fabric, and all that fuzz is going to cover, it's not going to come out good and stuff like that. So make sure that you read and you understand what you're getting. If you don't understand, ask. Okay, ask, because that's money. You want to make sure that you are actually spending on what you need. Okay, that's so important. Okay, so yeah, so software. Okay. Now, if you're doing a business like I'm doing a business, you're going to need a planner. I have a planner, but let me give you a tip of how I buy my planners, okay? My planners are old planners, okay? Now, when you go to the store in the beginning of the year, okay? I usually go to Michael's, all right? You guys are going to laugh because you're going to be like, she's a mess, all right? I go to Michael's and I get my planners. Now, what happens is in January, in the beginning of the year, they start selling all the brand new planners, right? Then what ends up happening is the old planners, they put them at like 50 to 60% off. So what I do is I buy the old planner. Now, the reason why I do that is because the planner, I just really need it for the month, okay? And usually I'll get an academic planner. So it's like kind of like in the middle of the year. And then what'll happen is, see, like this is a 2021 to 2022. Okay, and I bought it in January. So I got this for like, I think it was like 70% off. So I was like, okay. So what I did was I just skipped over to January, okay, which is 2022, start using it. And then I'm going to keep going until December. And then what'll happen is in July, all I did was I took a sticker and I typed 2022. Well, I wrote it in 2022. So it's, I mean, because to me, yeah, the dates are off, but so what? Just so cross off the numbers and put the real numbers in there. Okay. Now, a planner to me is important because this is actually where I put my appointment dates and times of when I'm meeting with clients and when I'm working with orders and when I need to do like a video for YouTube or, where whenever I have ideas for topics or something like that, I always put it in this baby. So it's kind of like my little travel thing with me. So it's something that I like to do. So it keeps me organized, okay? Because that's one of the things you want to stay organized and all that kind of stuff. I also have little handy notebooks, and this is usually the one I carry in my pocketbook. And the reason why I do that is because sometimes your light bulb goes off with an idea at a time when you're not in front of your computer, and this is kind of heavy for me to carry with me all the time. So whenever like I'm in the car or just out and about, and then I'm like, oh, I have an idea, something like that, I'll just take this out of my bag and then I'll just like write it down, okay? Because you will forget, okay? So always have like a little small one and stuff with you for little ideas that just pop in your mind. Or if somebody, if 'cause sometimes you shop, and another thing too is when you're shopping, look for ideas while you're shopping. Okay. Sometimes You can go through Hobby Lobby and you'll see like pillows with different designs, different sayings, and all that kind of stuff. And then you're like, oh, that looks cute. Next thing you know, you go home, you launch in Brilliance, and you can, with the fonts that you have, you can do something very similar, and and make your own and stuff. Instead of buying their pillow, you can make your own. That's one of the things that I really love about embroidery, is you can do your own stuff. Like, I can actually go to the store, buy a plain shirt like this, and then I can put like a little logo of a sewing machine or something like that, and it's cute, it's mine. So it's just something to think about. Okay. um all right, so software and planner. How am I doing on time, guys? Oh my goodness, because I am. Oh man, I'm okay. All right. Oh shoot, I got another page. All right, I'm gonna go a little faster. Okay, removing water soluble stabilizer. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you something. This one I gotta give it to Liliana. She is. I don't know if you guys have seen her channel. She does embroidery print now, and Liliana is good. Let me tell you, she's like, I'm her fan. I love watching her stuff. The only thing, she does her videos in Spanish, but I kind of love it because I get to practice my Spanish, right? So, but she did this trick. What happens is, when you are embroidering, okay, because this came from her, and I'm gonna tell you something. I do it all the time now. It's wonderful. Oh my goodness. When you're embroidering and you need to put the topping on top of it, okay, which is the plastic. For those that don't know, it's the little plastic. Well, a lot of times people were saying, oh, spray water or take a tennis ball and roll over and all that stuff. Nah, forget about all that. Okay, all that stuff that you hear, forget about it. What you do is, you have the plastic on top, right? You already embroidered on it. You want to rip the plastic off. Don't rip it off. Turn it around. Okay. Get a little spray bottle. Oops, sorry. You can get that from the dollar store, by the way. Okay. A little spray bottle like this. Okay. You can get these from the dollar store and stuff like that. Spray the back with the water. Okay. Just spray it. Okay. Spray it really, really good. All right. Let it sit for like 2-3 minutes. Spray it, walk away, come back. Okay. Turn it around. That water soluble stabilizer, it's going to peel right off. It's going to lift. I'm telling you, it's going to lift, especially if you're doing small little fine print. Oh my God. It's flawless. So, I mean, Liliana, I don't know if you're on here, but girl, I love you for that. I love you for that. Oh my God. I mean, that's awesome. She did a video on that and stuff. And oh my God, that's the way to do it. Forget the tennis ball. Forget what people say about, oh, just rip it. And then, another person said, rip it out and then spray water on the excess and then put it on top and then rip it again. No, forget about all that. Turn it around, spray the back, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. It just lifts right off. I'm telling you, it comes off like a feather. You'll love, I'm telling you, it's the best. I mean, that is like, love it. I mean, that's the way to do it. I mean, she's awesome. I mean, oh my God, when she did that, I was like, oh, she's got it going on. All right. All right. Centering items on hoops. All right. Now, how do I do it? All right. Take a shirt. Some of us, we have to embroider on shirts. I feel kind of conscious because, I don't want to leave you guys for so long. But anyway, let me keep going. If you guys get tired, don't worry about it. I know you guys will watch the replay. Now, sometimes you're working on embroidering shirts and you need to know where your actually center point is of your shirt. Take the best way to do it. The best way to do it that I find, okay, is take the shirt, fold it in half, go to your iron, and iron a crease. That to me is the best. These are things that I have tried that I'm kind of like, it's a hit and miss thing, okay? I've used chalk. Chalk is okay. However, the color chalk will sometimes leave a mark on your fabric. Okay. So didn't work for me too much. I've also used, but the white chalk works great. So you got to be kind of careful with the stuff that you try. Okay. They also have a pen, and I had the stuff with me, and I can't find it. Ain't that something? All right. So they have a pen that it's like it disappears with heat. All right. This is the problem that I had that disappears with the heat. I was using that to mark the center point of laptop cases, okay? Because I embroider laptop cases and I have to find the center to make sure. So I would measure it and then I would take the pen, and I would mark it. And then I would get to the ironing board when I was done embroidering, and then I would iron it and the ink would disappear. However, take that laptop case in cold temperature, the line reappears. So I was like, that ain't working for me either. However, though, the ironing of the shirt, putting it in half, that works. However, on a laptop case, you can't iron it in half, right? You can't. There's no way you can iron a laptop case. You can't do that with everything. With shirts, works great, but the other stuff, no. Sometimes you have bags and stuff like that. Can't do it. Stickers. Stickers are your friend, okay? They don't damage the fabric. They don't mark anything. You just buy very inexpensive. You could probably even get them at the dollar store too. Okay, got these from Amazon. And let me tell you, I got them. I mean, look, a lot of different packs of stickers. Little circles galore everywhere, okay? These will last for a very, very long time. What I do with this is you find your center point, take a little round sticker, stick it right there. Then when you take it to the machine, you'll know exactly where that center point is. And then once you have it lined up in your machine, remove the sticker. You didn't damage your fabric or anything. This is the way to go. Okay. If you're doing a shirt, use the iron. If you're doing laptop cases or stuff like that, or you got to measure a certain bag or something like that, stickers is the way to go. Okay. So that's how I would do centering. All right. The other thing also is float your items. All right. But sometimes floating can be a little tricky also, for the simple fact that there's a lot of things you have to do. First of all, especially on a single needle machine, you need to hoop your stabilizer. And then sometimes people don't like using sticky stabilizer, and I totally get it, because sticky stabilizer sometimes can be so strong that it becomes very difficult to get it off the fabric. In that situation, what I do is I tell people use tearaway. Take the tearaway, spray temporary adhesive. Okay, I use this. Okay, you want something that's not going to gum up your needle. All right, there is another one that a lot of people seem to like, with I think it's called 505. That's a lot of people seem to be happy with that as well. Get whatever works for you. Okay, but that is also a really good way to hoop your items. Okay, it's floating. All right. When if you use Embrilliance, because and I'm sure you can do this with other embroidery software. I only speak of Embrilliance because that's the only one I have experience with, but I'm sure that the other ones probably have this functionality as well. But I know that in Embrilliance, when you have your actual image on the screen, you can do a file print. When you do a file print, it'll actually print out your image on a paper. Cut out the paper, and on the image, it'll show the actual, you'll see a little cross, and the cross is the center point. Take that paper, place it on where you want it to be on your item, your product. And then when you're hooping it and you put it underneath your machine, okay, and you're at the center point, make sure the needle hits that center point. So that way you're right on target. Okay. So I know it's just a little extra step for printing out the stuff, but the thing is, it works. And what will happen is you'll always know where the center point is. Okay. Like I say, I've said that in the past. The hooping process is really the very, very important. If you do not hoop your product correctly, your embroidery is not going to come out the way you want it. You have to take your time. The preparation for embroidery takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. And, believe me, I know I'm born and raised in New York. I rush everything. Okay. But I learned real fast that if I don't slow down during that time, because that's the time that, how people, the people that sew, they say measure twice, cut once. Well, when it comes to the hooping and all that kind of stuff, take your time. Make sure that your fabric is spread out the correct way on the hoop. Make sure that everything is hooped properly. Make sure that your image is exactly where you need it to be on the hoop, that the needle is at the center of the design where it needs to be, and then you're ready to go. If you don't take the time to do all these things in the beginning, once you hit that start button in the machine, it's going to be a hit and miss. You may not be happy with the end product that you get at the end because your design might be a little off and stuff like that. I mean, if you guys have watched my videos in the past, you guys have seen some of the mistakes that I've made. So I'm just saying, from experience, So anyway, okay, pre-wound bobbins. Okay, if you want, you can wind your own bobbins. However, though, my experience is I found that pre-wound bobbins are really worth the investment. Okay, if you work with a single needle machine, one box of pre-wound of the bobbins will go a very long way for you. Okay, now unfortunately for me, because I do so much embroidery, I have a lot of orders at times, and sometimes my machines are like running. A box of bobbins for me will probably last me about like maybe 3 weeks. So I'm like buying all the time. So I buy bobbins by the boat, especially for these two babies right here. For this one right here, I kind of buy a lot, especially if I'm doing a lot of dinner napkins, because it's constant. Okay. So let me tell you about the pre-wind and why I kind of like them. Okay. Now you can wind your own bobbins if you want. That's a good way to save. Okay. However, though, when you buy these that are pre-wound, as you can see, they're pretty packed. Okay. So these to me last a very long time because you get a lot more thread. I like the way it's compact. Now here's a little tip for you also. For the SC 1900, okay, you see that these come with a little plastic on them, right? Don't throw them away. Okay, when you are done using this bobbin, try to save at least 10 of them. Okay, then the rest you can throw out. And I'm gonna tell you why I say save 10. Let's say that someone comes to you and say, hey, I want you to embroider a towel for me or something, right? And when they want you to embroider it, but they want the back of the embroidery to be the same color as the front. Well, instead of what's going to happen is you're going to have to, in that situation, you're going to have to wind your own bobbin because you're going to want the bobbin thread to be the same color as your top thread. That's where those empty cases are going to come in handy. Because what's going to happen is if you don't have any empty case, then how are you going to wind a bobbin, right? So you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to buy a pack. So why buy a pack? Those you can reuse, right? So what I tell people is save some, all right? So what I usually do is I have a little pack I actually bought. I bought because I was and I bought a whole bunch of them too. But the thing is, this was a lesson learned from me because I should have did that. Okay. But I bought these before I was using the pre-wound bobbins. And then when I started using the pre-wound bobbins, I was like, wait a minute, that plastic case is this. So I could have saved some money. So don't make that mistake. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Don't make that mistake. You could save yourself a couple of bucks. If you buy the pre-wound bobbins, if you want to go this route, then as you use them and you run out, take the plastic case, don't throw it out, just throw them in a drawer somewhere or whatever, and you can reuse them and stuff. So another thing too that I do is I usually get these kind of cases, okay, and I have a whole bunch over there because I've used those plastic cases, and I wind my own with the same color as the top thread, and then I'll just use them here, and then I store them. That way I don't have to like redo it all over again, and I'm not wasting thread. So if I have to go back and use them, then I have them already there. So little cases like these don't hurt, very inexpensive. Like I said, go to Joann's or Walmart or whatever. Make sure you use your coupons and stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, that was pre-one. Okay, I'm almost there, guys. Almost there. Okay, all right. Thread. I've already mentioned the thread. The thread, I said you buy one set to start. Anytime you need to replenish a certain color that you use a lot, try to go for the big combs. That way it lasts and you're not rebuying the same color, okay? And stuff. Let me tell you about this one. This one's very, very important. I'm almost done. It's only two left. Yep, two left. Okay. Test stitch your designs. Now there are several ways that you can test stitch, and I'm telling you right now. Oh, I just thought of a third one, but okay, let me keep going. I buy fabric, just plain white fabric. And whenever I get a design digitized or something like that, okay, and I'm going to mix the two, the one that I just thought with this, going to put them together. Whenever you get something digitized, okay, always test your design. When you get the file back from the digitizer, always test it. When you test it, do not test it on the actual product. Always just buy 2 yards of plain white fabric, okay? Cut them in little squares, and that will be what you use in order to test your designs. When you are done testing them, if they come out really great, okay? This is something that someone gave me a tip on. You turn it around, okay? And with your pen, write down information about the design, okay? Like in this one, I used a 65-9 needle, okay? This is how many stitches are there's 6700 stitches in this design. I'm using a 40 weight thread, the emerald green, and then it's the Florina brand of thread that I used for this design, okay? Sometimes what some people do, okay, and I've done these on some of my other samples as well. I'll even put the customer's information on here too, who the customer was, um, who the digitizer was, and stuff like that. And you keep these. You keep them, okay? And the reason why I say keep them is because like I have a customer and she gives me a lot of her artwork, and I get her artwork digitized and stuff, and she uses it to put it on different shirts and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things that she does is we name her files, and when I do the test stitches, sometimes she'll come on and say, "Hey, Jeanette, I'm dropping off some shirts. I want you to put this logo on there." Okay. Now I could look at this and I know it says green, but I don't know what green I use. Okay. So you can forget. You can forget. And then you don't, I know I stitched it, but I don't remember. Did I use a 7511 needle? Did I use a 65-9 needle and stuff like that? So this will help you be organized. So you don't throw these out. Put them in a box or something, or a drawer and stuff. And then when your customers come back to you or you want to redo the design, then what you do is just pull it out. And then you're like, okay, this is the design. Go to the back. You wrote everything. Don't take away the stabilizer. Leave the stabilizer there. That's going to serve as your paper. Okay. And then you just write all the information down. Okay. So that you can remember how you did this stitch. So, that's something that for you to, little tip that I do. Another thing also is, let's talk about digitizing for a minute, okay? There are a lot of people out there that digitize, okay? Now, not everybody, how am I going to say this? Okay, everybody has different prices, okay? Some people have very high prices in digitizing. some people very low. There's different types of quality of digitizing as well. Okay. One of the things that I found that was really important for me and something that I do is I don't have just one person that I go to. All right. And the other thing too is it doesn't cost you anything to get a quote. Okay. So if let's say you get a design and you give it to a digitizer and you say, hey, first question is, first thing I tell them is what am I using the design for? Is it a logo? Is it on a jacket? Is it on a bag? The type of fabric, the type of uh you should be giving all this information to the digitizer. The size of needle you're going to be using, the type of weight of thread you're going to be using. You should give them all of that, okay? And then the question should be and the size, how big you need the design and all that kind of stuff. And then you should ask them the question, how much will it cost for you to digitize this this item, right? You can also take the same thing and go to another digitizer, give them the same information, ask them, how much do you charge to digitize this file? Sometimes you will find that you will have one digitizer that'll say it's $30, and then you'll have someone that'll come back and they'll say it's 10 or 15, whatever, right? And they give you a whole different price, okay? Now the thing is, as time goes on, you're going to have to try out different digitizers. As you start doing this, you're going to find out, is the $30 digitizer really worth the $30 digitizer, or is this person that's charging me $15-$20 is just as good as the guy that's charging me all this money? So the thing is, you have to do your research when it comes to the digitizers. Okay. So I mean, I have some that I use that I like. I've had some that I have also used where I was kind of like, it's not for me. Um, they may have worked for other people, but they just didn't work for me because I thought they priced a little bit too high and the quality was not that great. So the thing is, you just have to find the right people that you like to work with. My advice also is, don't have one person, have multiple people. Try to see if you can get at least 2, 3, or 4. Okay. The more people that you go to for digitizing, the better you are, because what ends up happening is exactly who can handle real detailed uh artwork, and who can you go to for simple stuff. Okay. You actually get to know who is good at what. You really do. Like, I know I have some digitizers that I use for just simple stuff, and then when there's something that's really like big or whatever, that it's a big file, or it has a whole lot of details, or maybe the artwork may have to be modified a little bit so that way it can be embroidered. Because you got to remember too, not everything that you see in a drawing is going to come out exactly the same when you're embroidering. And that's something that I tell a lot of my customers, because what happens is they look at this picture, right? And they think that it's going to come out the exact same way. And I'm like, you got to remember, this is not ink. This is stitches. And the smaller the stitch and the more stitches that are in a design, the more dense that file is going to be. And if it's a very thick and dense design, that means we might be limited to the type of items that you can embroider on. And it may be more expensive, because more details mean more color changes. More details can mean more stitches. It can also means that I have to double up on stabilizer. And it's good. And more stitches, of course, means more time. So, all those things have to be considered. So, make sure that you when you have something that you need to get digitized, go out to several digitizers, get price quotes, and just try them out. Just try them out and stuff. And also, when you have these things, write on the back, who was the digitizer? Okay, who was the digitizer you use? Because if you ever have another file that's very similar to this design, you and they did a really good job, you'll be like, oh, well, then you know what? I'm gonna go to this person because this person did a really good job in these type of files. So it's just something else that I need to mention. Did I have anything else? I think there was one more. Uh Okay. The other thing that I wanted to mention, this one's real fast. Double-sided tape. Okay, double-sided tape when you are floating items. If you're using a magnetic hoop on your single needle machine, or you're using it, even on your multi-needle machines, magnetic hoops or fast frames or something like that, get double-sided tape. I think I have some. No, I have it over there. Okay, double-sided tape that helps to secure the stabilizer a little better on the actual hoop to try to avoid some of the shifting, okay, and stuff. So just that was the last one. Whew, I went through all of them. Oh my god, it's like 9:30. Sorry guys, I try to go as fast as I possibly can, and I know I didn't even go through the chat yet. All right, so I'm gonna try. Whew, that was it. So guys, I'm gonna go through the chat. Love you all. Hi to everybody, but I am just going to skim through it. I see Norma, I see Fatima, I see Needlepoint, I see Portia and Robin and Tammy and stuff. I see Gladys. Hey Eartha, how you doing? Hey Sassy. Okay, I'm gonna try to go down as fast as I can, and I'm also because I know that it's late and stuff, and I don't want to like keep you guys here forever and stuff, but I do want to see if you guys had any of your own tips that you want to add here and stuff. Hey Iris, how you doing? Hey Miss Max. Hey Girly, Girl 4. I see you. Hey Miriam, how you doing? Um, let's see. Okay, it's just everybody saying hi so far. Hey Angela, how you doing? Hey Okie. I use Dollar Tree paint brushes and toss them when they get dirty. See, there you go. Paint brushes is another one too. The only thing that I say though is make sure that the brushes that they're soft, okay? You don't want to jam anything in there that's kind of rough, okay? Because you got to remember you don't want to mess with anything with your machine and stuff like that. But hey, if that works, that's awesome. Oh, look at that. Eartha says she uses the Q-tips too. Let's see. Hey Barbara, how you doing? Let's see. Hey M Hannah. Hey Susan. I see Tracy. The mini ironing board. Yes, Miss Hannah. I was like, oh my God. When that lady put the mini ironing board and she used it as a razor, I was like, genius. I mean, I was like, oh my God. I was like, you know how much money that's saved? Because risers can cost money. I'm telling you, I think I paid close to 100 for mine, and because I wanted mine painted and everything. So, yeah. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, that was genius. I never in my mind did I ever think of doing something like that. You can use pipe cleaners. Oh, Angela, I didn't know that. Let's see. Hey, Linda Sight and Craft, how you doing? Hey, Juanita, how you doing? I started using a razor for the first time this morning, shaved the top of the stabilizer, and it works great. There you go. See? Yep. Do you oil those pads on your needle bars of I do not, Allison. I have seen people do that and they have put down and they oiled it. When I had the guy come in, because I have someone that comes in and they do the maintenance on it, and I asked them about oiling that, he was like, "That's not necessary." He said, "What you need to do is oil the bobbin area." So I just never did, but I don't know if it hurts it or not. I mean, he didn't tell me either way. But I mean, me personally, I don't oil the pads on the needle bars on my machine. Um, hey Shirley, how you doing? Hey Miss Max, keep buying the helpers. Oh, okay, and that's another thing too. Miss Max mentions that they do have they have like embroidery helper boards, and I remember a while ago, if I remember, I think it was Felix or somebody like that. They were using that and they use that in their business when they, because it helps you to determine where to put the logo on your shirt because it is kind of difficult, when you don't have a hooping station like I have to find the location, especially if you have a lot of shirts. You want to make sure that you're putting the logo on the same exact spot. So they have something, it's called like an embroidery helper board, and I've seen that on Amazon, and I think allstitch.com has them. I think it's like 20 bucks, something like that. Let's see. Hey Jeannie, how are you? Um, let's see. I do the same with my stabilizer. I also use Kid Snap bracelets in white, and you can write on them. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, little tags and stuff like that on your stabilizer. Because the whole thing is you don't want to forget what what brand and what type. After a while, when you're buying a lot, you're so used to them that you don't even you can just look at, you can take it out, feel it, and you know what it is. You know what it is. But when you're first starting out, it can get very, very confusing and stuff. Hey Gloria, found a table. See, oh yep, hands-free magnifying, and it helped a lot. I have seen those too. They do sell those. They have these little that you put, it's like a little a lamp, and it has a magnifying glass, and you can just turn it over, and your hands are free. And that helps a lot with sewing and all that kind of stuff too. Yes, I have heard of that. Let's see. Extended port. Yep, the extended ports are pretty good. Don't get the 6-inch extension cords came from the dollar store. Not good quality. Actually damaged your machine. Oh, Susan, I didn't know that. Thanks for pointing that out. Um, did not know that. Yeah, then I guess those things I would stay away from it then from the dollars because that's not what you want. Um, what's the best size mighty hoop for designs in front of sweatshirts and t-shirts? Okay. Jeannie, if you are talking about doing like the logos on the side, I use the 5x5 mighty hoop, and that's for multi-needle machines though. Okay, so if you have a single needle machine, you can use your 5x7 hoop, and they also have a magnetic hoop that's 5x7 for single needle machines as well. But for my when I am embroidering on the multi needle machines, I use the 5x5 hoop, and I have a hooping station so that way I can measure and I can just pop the hoop in and it'll embroider in the same spot all the time. But I use the 5x5 for that. Let's see. Trying to get in here. Um, Good bobbin, 60 way stitching mini fonts. Yes, Susan. Susan got it right on the bobbins and stuff. Hey Tracy. I have an older brother machine. I'm having issues with tension. How can you adjust it from keep warping under the spool? Oh, I don't have that machine. If you're having issues with the tension, and that one of the things that I would do is look at your bobbin case, make sure that that is not something that needs to be replaced. And sometimes you have to adjust the tension on your bobbin case. I do have a video on how I do it on the Brother SC1900. You're welcome to look at that. Maybe that can give you a little hint of maybe on how you can fix yours. But if you have an older machine, it could be that maybe you need to replace the bobbin case. So I would try to do the adjustment on the bobbin case and see if that works. If not, then maybe also it could be too that maybe you need to take it in for servicing, because the rule of thumb is you should be taking your machines in for annual service on an annual basis, yearly. So I because I have so many, I actually have somebody come to the house now because my husband's getting old and all my machines are upstairs, and especially the big ones, the little ones, nothing. I mean, I can throw the SC1900 in the car and go. But these big ones, you have to actually unhook it from the stands and to carry them downstairs. The last time, my husband and my son had to carry both downstairs, and they were like kind of like pissed because they were like, these things are heavy. And, my husband's old and he's getting up there and he's like his back and all that. So I actually have to hire somebody to come to the house and actually do that. So, but you may want to maybe look into maybe that it's time for your machine to be serviced too. And it's not a bad idea for them to clean it out and all that kind of stuff and everything. And then they can fix the tension for you right then and there. This is, something else you may want to think about and stuff. Hey, Ronnie and Shirley, how are you? Hey, Crafty Patty. Let's see. I use a humper jumper to remove the old needle and also insert the new one. I've used my own fingers, Linda. I can, I've been okay with it. Just I just unscrew it and the needle just falls out, and I use a little piece of paper that folks told me I can't sit down and watch TV. I need to do something else too. um, Love reusing seasoning bottles with the holes. Yeah, well, this one doesn't have the holes. This is just plain and stuff. I don't want the one with the holes because I want to keep the needles in there. And I don't want the needles to fall out at all because that way when I throw this in the garbage can, if somebody's whole, handling, I think about, all the people that probably take the trash and all that stuff. And I don't want somebody to accidentally get stuck, So I mean, but that was a great tip that someone gave me because I was taking the old needles and I was repackaging them in the old, in what they came in. And when somebody put down, get the pill bottles, I was like, that's an awesome idea to get rid of old needles. Nice, safe. And so that has been what I always do now and stuff. Let's see. If you are hope if you are hooping in three different places on a single strip of how do you keep everything straight without one being higher than the other? Okay, one of the things that I would do with that, Miss Mitchell, is rulers. I would print out each of the items that I want to embroider. I would use a ruler and maybe chalk. Okay, or the little stickers. The chalk will probably be the best one, but I would use the chalk to draw the line to make sure that the item is right exactly where I want it to be. And then I would hoop it, and then I would take it out, and then I would redo the same thing with the next line with the ruler and stuff like that, make sure it's exactly there. Hoop, but I would float it. I'm a floater. I like to float everything. I don't hoop the fabric inside the hoop for the simple fact too that you can get hoop burn. Okay, and hoop burn is when you remove the fabric from the hoop and the fabric ends up with the actual marking of the hoop. Very hard to get it off, and it can sometimes damage the fabric. So a lot of times what I'll do is I will just hoop the stabilizer and I will spray the temporary adhesive, and then I would put the item on there. But what I would do is I would print out all the things that I want to embroider, and you have to carefully put it on the fabric exactly where you want it to be, measure it, do the ruler thing and everything. And then once you have that there, you gently put it on the actual hoop. Once you have it on the hoop, put it in the machine. Make sure that the machine is aligned with the center of the design. Then remove the paper, and then I would go ahead and then start embroidering and stuff. I know it sounds tedious. I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but I think you guys know what I mean. But that's like I said, with embroidery, like I was saying in the beginning, if you don't do the preparation up front and if you don't take your time to measure correctly and make sure that your placement is correct and you're hooped correctly and you're using the right stabilizer, all that work is just not, it's not going to work at the end. You're going to have cricket stuff and it's just not going to come out good and stuff. So that's what I would do. Ms. Mitchell, thanks for addressing the planner thing because I don't know where to start. Yeah, get the cheap one. I read it. Just don't. I mean, it's just numbers. It's dates. It's just all you need is a note. You just need a little calendar. That's about it. So it's like I don't get the earliest. I always look for the ones that are going to expire, and because those are the ones that are like really super cheap, and you can get a nice one that's real cheap. So why am I going to pay full price? So that's just how I roll and stuff. Hey, girl, um let's see. Oh my goodness. I think I scroll a little bit too more. Let me see. Um, Such a great teacher. I'm happy I found you. You're amazing. Thank you, girl, for appreciate that. Would you be so kind to write your friend's link as well, please? I would love to follow her. Oh, Liliana. Liliana, she does okay. Let me write it down. It's in Bro Print Now. And she is part of our Facebook group too. If you're part of the Facebook group, or if you're not, please consider joining. I mean, it's a great place because we all share information and knowledge. It's called Embroidery Happy Hour Adventures. And Liliana, I love her because she posts a lot of positive things on there, and she posts little things in there. And she does things with her daughter and stuff like that. It's like really, really cool. And she was doing videos on how to make patches and all that stuff. And she's really, really good. And I really love her because there have been a couple of times when I needed advice on doing certain things, and she's always taking my calls. I mean, she's just really awesome. She really is. She loves to help people too. And I just love people that have like good hearts. And stuff. So she's awesome. She's got her own channel and stuff. So even if you don't understand her, subscribe to her channel, because she's awesome. Let me see. Hey, Eartha. Let me see. Let's see if there's other things in there. Oh, Boricua too from San Juan, Puerto Rico, living in We're from Yalco, Puerto Rico. Yep. And we were living in New York. So I guess you could call me New Yorican now. But now I'm in Virginia and stuff. Jeanette, question. What do you use to clean the outside of your multi-needle machine? I just use a rag. And now this is another thing too that I find I bought these, but I really don't use them as much as I really should. I actually got dust covers. Let me show you. I have dust covers for all my multi-needle machines. Now, if I'm going away for like the weekend or something like that, I put the dust covers on. During the week, a lot of times when I'm home, I don't put them on for the simple fact that it's like they're barely off. Okay, so they're always working. So I do have dust covers. I bought these off of an Etsy shop called Sew 3 More. And I buy so many from her. I've gotten one for my 10 needle. I got one for the 6 needle. I even got one for my SC 1900, and I love it because it's clear and you get to pick the color of the binding that you want. And I even got one for my Cricut and stuff. Man, I think I bought her out. So anyway, but yeah, that's what I do. But I usually, for the outside of it, I just use a little rag like this. Hold on, I'll show you. Just a little. I think these are micro. I think they're like the micro ones and stuff. I just use these little rags, and then all I do is I just wipe it down around and stuff like that, and that's about it. But that's what I do. Thank you for your wise advice. Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate, I like to share. I don't mind sharing. Did you purchase your hoopy station from All Stitch, and what was the appropriate price, please? Okay, Crafty Patty. No, I actually bought it directly from mightyhoop.com. I went on their website and I bought it from them. And I believe this was like the hooping station that I got, which is this one. And just so you guys know, this is what she's asking about. For those of you guys that aren't familiar, well, I have a shirt on it right now, but I'll take the shirt off because I'm going to be embroidering this shirt for a customer later on. But this is the hooping station for shirts. I have the one for the adults. They have one for infants also, but I don't do children's clothes that much and stuff like that. And for children's clothes, it's kind of like, I'm not a, not that I'm not a kid person. It's just I do more for adults. I do more for adults. My thing is mostly kitchen towels, dinner napkins, home decor, laptop bags, duffel bags, jackets, and I have a lot of people that come to me that own small businesses, and like they want their employees to like wear shirts with their company logo and stuff like that. So I do more adult shirts if anything. So but they do have this for, if people do kid shirts and all that kind of stuff. They do have this on the kid version, but I just don't own that one. um I got, this is the adult one, and this is the thing. And I'm sorry, the price was like, I think it's $541. They are pretty pricey. These things, I'm telling you, that is one thing that I tell people up front. Embroidery is very, very expensive, especially if you are looking at big machines, and you're, the proper equipment that you need to really run a business well. I mean, you are really spending a lot of money. And the first couple of 2 years that you're running an embroidery business, a lot of the money that you make, you're going to be reinvesting it back into your business, because what's going to happen is you're going to need to buy the proper hoops. You're going to need to buy a hooping station for sure, if you are embroidering for small businesses and stuff like that. That is definitely a must, because the last thing, first of all, it does it so much quicker. Okay. And when you are embroidering logos on a shirt, you will be able to make sure that the logo is on the exact spot all the time on every shirt, for each different size, right? So it's like it makes things so much easier. So I use this religiously. I use this even for my kitchen towels. I mean, I use it for everything. So this is has really been worth its money in gold. So, but like I said, what I do, I mean, I tell people, some people do embroidery for a hobby, and that's great, and that's great. And so there's a lot of things that when you do it as a hobby, you don't need all this stuff. Some of this stuff you don't need, okay? Because you're just doing it for fun, right? So it's like, if you're doing little shirts for your grandkids and stuff like that, you can take the time to just take the little kids shirts, and you can measure exactly where you want the logos and certain the embroidery designs to be on the shirt and stuff like that. But when you are actually running a business, and sometimes I'm doing like 20, 50, even 100 shirts, I need to be able to quickly do these shirts, you know what I'm saying, to hoop them and all that kind of stuff and everything. Because I gotta roll, I gotta fill my orders and stuff, because I got a kid in college, so, and I gotta pay for that dorm, and dorms are not, they're not cheap. So, I gotta get this gotta keep this thing going. So yeah, so the more, things, it depends on what you want. I guess that's what I'm saying. And I say the same thing when people are asking me about what machine to buy. I tell them, it's really a personal choice. It's like asking me what car should I drive. It's a personal thing. Okay, so you gotta think to yourself, why do you want to do this? What is it that you want to do? How do you where do you see this going for you in the future? Is it going to stay as a hobby, or is this going to be a full blown business for you and stuff like that? That'll determine really what the machine you really need and stuff like that, because machines are, this is not cheap. Even if you're doing it as a hobby, it's not cheap. You thread, machine, everything, it's all expensive. Okay. And the SC1900 is one of the cheaper ends. Okay, and to me, that machine's expensive, because you're talking about $1,000 for a machine. So this just something, to think about. So anyway, hope that helped, Crafty Patty, and I hope I didn't discourage you. It's not that I mean to discourage. I just want to be honest, and stuff. What's a true beginner's project on a single needle machine's largest hoop size? Hey, Charming, K. For beginners, okay, if you have, this is the thing, if you have a machine like the one I have, which is a Brother SC1900, and it's comparable to a PE800, those hoop sizes, they're, these machines are not cheap, but the hoop size is 5 by 7. Now, the thing is, though, is one of the things a lot of people have the misperception of is that they think 5 by 7 is as big as I can go. That's not true. With these machines, you can go as big as a 5 by 12. The only thing is that when you're using the 5 by 12, you're using a repositional hoop. And a repositional hoop is when you're taking an embroidery file and is splitting the file in half. Okay. So that way you have to hoop the item twice and it will embroider one half of the design. Then you change the hoop's position and then it'll embroider the other half of the design. And if you look on my channel, I do have a video on using the 5 by 12 uh, hoop. Okay. And it shows you exactly how to do that. I show you how I do it with the software and how I actually did it. I did a towel and stuff like that. So I hope that helps. Hey Karen, how are you? How can you use fast frames on a multi-needle if it ain't on the screen to pick? Okay, Karen, okay, all right. What you would do is you have to create the size of the frame on your embrilliance. Okay, you have to add it. Now, I do have a video on how to do that. If you look on my channel and you look at Mighty Hoops and Embrilliance, you type that in, I will show you exactly how you do that. And it's the same concept that I put my Mighty Hoops set that on. You would do the exact same thing on your fast frames. Okay, that's how you would add that in. Okay. Let's see. Can I get these cloths from Harborfront? They're 4 per pack. I don't know what cloths. The cloths that I got for cleaning, I mean, these are just regular cloths. It's just little dust cloths. I'm sure you can get these at the dollar store too, or baby wipes. Use baby wipes, get the unscented ones and stuff like that. But the baby wipes come a little wet and stuff like that. And you want to make sure you don't put any water in there. So make sure it's not like soaking wet or anything like that. But this is really the best way to go. You can get these from the dollar store. I think people use these to clean cars and stuff like that. So, let's see. Do you do a live every Friday? Yes, girl. I do. I'm on every Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Yes. Greatly appreciate you and you're not. Oh, you are so welcome. Let me see. I also purchased a craft table you suggested from Michael's. Love it. Such a good deal. Oh, awesome. Great. And I hope you use discounted gift cards. Okay. Don't be paying full price for anything. Let's see, because I loved it for my 10 needle machine so much. Hey, Being Pam. I have the NQ6 Good Beginners project I can do. Oh, what's a good beginner project? You know what I would do, Sherman? Just kitchen towels. Do kitchen towels. Kitchen towels, very, very easy. All it is just a little towel, and you're just gonna do a little design and practice. Put your name on it, do a cute little picture and stuff like that. Once because that's what I did. I started with little kitchen towels, and very easy to do. And then as you create them, give them to your friends and your family, and you're gonna get better and better. And then as time goes on, then you can try to start doing little shirts or stuff like that. Try kitchen towels. Very simple to do. Very, very simple. Yeah, that's it. Yes, okay, you got that right. Okay, this is called a microfiber towel cloth. Yes, those are, yeah, and just wipe it down. That's all you do. Just wipe it down and stuff. Hey Eve, how you doing? Thank you so much for sharing the tip. Oh, you're welcome. Hey Lori. Oh my God, I got the whole gang. It's stuff. Yeah, so those are all the tips that I have for you guys and stuff. As you start embroidering, and you start interacting with other people that embroider, and as time goes on, you actually start learning a lot of stuff. You start learning, about what to use, what not to use, what works and what doesn't work. And this is the thing too that I always tell people, it's like not everybody has the same experience, right? So it's like, one type of thread may work for one person and it may not work for you and all that kind of stuff. So the thing is, you just got to be able to try things out. But and the other thing is too is don't go crazy buying all this stuff either. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, little simple things can, can work. I mean, who would have thought, that buying these things, okay, eyelash brushes would help you clean an embroidery machine. I mean, I use these on my single needle machines and I use them on my multi needle machines, and they work great. I mean, it takes out all the lint because that's what it's all about. So it's just little simple things that are inexpensive that can help you to keep going and rock and rolling. Okay. So, guys, it has been, I have talked a lot. I mean, it's supposed to be an hour, and I'm sorry, but it's just that I had so many things. Like I said in the beginning, I wanted to share all this stuff with you because it's stuff that, that I learned from people and stuff that I've learned from experience. And especially if you're new in embroidering and stuff like that, this is stuff you want to learn, because I want you guys to really have a good experience while you guys are embroidering and learning how to sew and all that stuff. Because this is a wonderful craft. It really, really is. Girlfriend of mine just celebrated her 60th birthday, and I was able to embroider some dinner napkins for her and a pillow. And I think I posted those on our group site. And she loved them. She loved them. Okay. I mean, she started giving out my business card to everybody over there, which I was kind of like, okay. But she loves them, and it's a wonderful craft because you can really make such unique things for you, your family, your friends, and it's very memorable. So anyway, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video tonight. I try to make it as informative as possible and stuff, and I am starting to put more videos out there, and I'm trying to get that camera to follow me whenever I'm working on orders and stuff like that, so that I can help teach you guys as and show you guys things that I do so that you guys can pick up on it and stuff and maybe inspire you guys and give you guys ideas and stuff like that. But as always, I am here to help. If you want, you can, if you have questions, need help or anything, just post it on our Facebook group. If I'm not there to answer the questions, everybody there is so super sweet and so nice. And everybody always jumps in and helps everybody. So even if you're a newbie, please don't be shy. You're there to learn. If you're not going to learn if you don't ask. So that's what we're all about. It's about helping each other so that we can all grow and really share how great this stuff is. So guys, you guys have a great, great evening. Have a great, great weekend. Love you guys all. Thank you so much for all the support and everything. And I will talk to you guys later. Okay. So have a great night. Okay. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Love you guys. Bye.